When rescue organizations like Libby's Haven or Arnie want to find new homes for dogs that have been rescued, it is important to transition the dogs from a bad situation into a new home. The best way to do that is by having the dog spend a few weeks or a few months in a foster home. Reading Tales recently visited with a wonderful foster mom whose work and dedication to helping these four-legged friends is truly inspiring.
So hi, I'm Christine. I got involved in dog rescue about 3 years ago. I grew up having 4 dogs and I loved dogs. So I knew this was something that I wanted to eventually at some point figure out how to help. About 3 years ago I got involved with Arnie and began helping them with just some of their regular dogs, doing some kennels, some pet adoption days, helping with some flyers and such. About a year ago I got involved with fostering. My first foster, her name was Christy. She was a Carolina dog that came in. Christy's photo when she first came in, her head was down, she was really shy, nervous, she looked extremely sad. So she was with me about 3 weeks, and during those 3 weeks we went to football games together. I would take her for walks, we would go to my son's baseball, we went to parks, and she just really loved being outdoors, and she really came out of her shell. At her very first pet adoption day, she had people fighting over her because she ended up being this amazing transformation dog. And one of my favorite things was showing the family that adopted her a photo of the day before she came and showing her before and after photos. After Christy got adopted, it was probably about a month or so before I took in another foster. And when I did, I took in this dog named Emerson. One of the unique things about Emerson is that he was blind. Emerson came to my house, he was a Greyhound mix, and when Emerson came in, boy did he teach me a lot. With Emerson, every day we learned a new routine, and we had a routine that we stuck to. One of the biggest things we do is I would let him lead me based on his senses. And we walked around throughout the yard, and every day we started off slow by just walking the property line in a circle before we actually went out onto the street. In the morning, we would just go sit outside on a Saturday and Sunday morning. We'd sit outside in this greenhouse. And we did this every day, a couple hours at a time, just because it was an area that he felt safe. And he could hear the sounds and become familiar with them, and it helped him not be so nervous. He ended up staying with us almost 2 full months. I kept a room specifically for Emerson. He hung out downstairs in our family room at the time. The only thing I put down there was a bed for Emerson and some toys. I remember I bought him a 3-foot bully stick. It was huge, and just to give him something to play with. And my little Maltese poodle, she's only 9 pounds. She actually came and she took it and she tried to walk, and then it got stuck at the door. And Emerson, he didn't mind. He was really good about sharing. And he ended up finding an amazing home. I want to say 2 cats that had some blindness, so they were very familiar with how to work with sensory animals, so that was really great. Emerson left on a Saturday morning from my home, and that Saturday night, Molly came in. Molly was a pregnant mama. She had come in from South Carolina. She was malnourished, and boy, she was big. She was ready to pop. I tried to really fatten her up, get her healthy, get her to trust me. Just about 2 weeks after, I could tell Molly was going to go into delivery that night, and I stayed with Molly for most of the night, and it was about 3 in the morning, and I decided I was going to go take a quick power nap, if you will. So I got up about 6 o'clock in the morning and I went back downstairs. She picked her own corner and she began her delivery, and it was amazing. So I grabbed some gloves and I grabbed the babies, and I would bring them over to the pool and put them all in the pool so that I could lure Molly to continue her delivery in the pool. So after Molly had about 3 or 4 babies, she went over to the pool, and then she had a few more babies. and I thought she was done at 6. Next thing I know, there was 9. She had 9 little babies, and it was quite an amazing journey. I had them all checked out. Molly was good, and Molly was a great mommy. She took really good care of her babies, and she did the very best that she could. And about 3 weeks into nursing, Molly couldn't keep up with the amount of nursing and the amount of puppies, and she got really sick. So at 3 weeks old, the puppies had to be weaned from her almost immediately. So every 2 hours, I was feeding the puppies some formula, and once I got them through that I had to do that up until they were 6 weeks old, and at that point they could come off of the formula. All of them lived, and so Molly ended up going to an amazing home. Typically puppies always go first and the moms are always left behind, and we had a case where the mom went before any of the puppies. We did a reunion about a month later. We did a reunion with Molly's puppies, and we met at Molly's new house, and within the first 30 seconds Molly knew right away these were her babies, and she was the proudest mama ever. She ran from her baby, then ran to her mommy to say, "Mommy, Mommy, did you see my baby?" And when she first seen me, she gave me this gruntle hug. It made me cry. I ended up adopting one of the puppies. His name is Brady. I had no intention on adopting Brady, but when I watch these babies grow and you care for them, it's obviously really difficult letting any of them go. And I had taken my Brady over to see Molly probably about 3-4 times after that. And Brady has doggy daycare with his litter mate Sadie. Sadie and Brady, they play together every week. The two of them love each other and are just inseparable. They are the best of friends. And it's so nice because through that, I met Sadie's parents.
So when I saw Christine's post on Pet Finder of Sadie, it really grabbed me and it spoke to me, and I could tell that she took the time to love and get to know her and get to know her personality and describe her the way she exactly was. And when I visited Christine and Sadie, fell in love with both of them, and it was a no-brainer on my part, and it was the most wonderful experience I could have had.
Bentley was one of the last puppies that got adopted out from Molly. He was adopted from a family that lives up in Groveland, and they're from England, and they had a dog already named Monty that they were looking for him to have somebody to play with. So they met Bentley. We met at the dog park and we walked the trails with him, and they immediately fell in love with him. And they send constant photos of how Bentley is and how big he is. When the puppies left, I sent them all with a couple of toys. And one of the toys was just a rope toy, and it had a ball at the end. Well, I got a picture from Bentley's dad, and it said how Bentley was doing so well in puppy kindergarten that he got an award. And the photo had Bentley with his little toy that I gave him, the rope toy, wrapped around his neck. And he said, Bentley doesn't know it's really just a toy, but he thinks it's an award and he wears it proud. After Molly, I said, that's it, I'm done. I need to take a little break for a while, until I met Piper. I met Piper at a pet adoption day through Arnie, and I couldn't believe that she had been with Pets in Need for over 6 months. She was staying at an animal hospital, and she didn't have really a whole lot of outdoor access just because she was getting free room and board. So what I tried to do was be an advocate for her. So I signed up that I could be a volunteer with that rescue, just so that I could take Piper out and take her for walks and take her for meet and greets. One of the guys that I work with was going to adopt her. It just didn't work out right, but you know what? I believe that everything happens for a reason. And about a week after, when that adoption had fallen through, Piper got adopted out to a vet. And he is actually a disabled vet, and she was going through training to be a service dog. And she was going to help the disabled vet for when he would have seizures or needed any type of medical assistance. You know, I believe that the time that I was able to put into her learning how to be a dog again and just kind of adapt to people. Once she got out and really got to see life, she was, you know, really, and she's in Vermont now and she is excelling at her training and really making the best dog. So, you know, I go back and forth to the kennel. I help the kennel dogs all the time. I walk them, feed them, and I had felt this one dog there, her name was Audrey. She was a lab pit mix, and the day she was getting adopted, it had fallen through. So I ended up taking Audrey home just to let her play with Brady, see how they would do together, and she was so cute. And she was just staying for a couple of hours to play, and she left 3 weeks later when she got adopted. And the cutest thing about Audrey is that she was about 33 pounds, but she thought she was a lap dog. And, you know, people were always like, oh, she looks like a pit bull, and oh, you know, and she did, no doubt about it, but her personality was all lab and she was sweet. She went to a home that she's going to have a fur brother and a human brother, and she has 2 mommies. And they love her. They met her with their dog Gus on our pet adoption day. The dogs got along great. We took her to her new home to be and wanted to see how she would be in her new home environment, and she did great. I had no desire to, you know, foster full-time again, and I was happy that Audrey was going. I was looking forward to the break again. And all of a sudden this urgent plea had come in because our transport had picked up a little tiny puppy. So I didn't know anything about the puppy other than the fact that it only had one eye. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna take her. And the reason I took her was my foster Emerson. By learning through Emerson and his blindness, the only thing I could think of is that this puppy needed me, and maybe I could help the puppy learn the way Emerson taught me. Little did I know, this little Jackie Sparrow would come in and she would be a spitfire. She met all my dogs and was great, but when she met my Brady, something with Brady, I don't know what it was, but Brady is like her daddy. He's so gentle with her, and him being 60 pounds and her being 2, I was extremely nervous, but he just learned that she's so gentle and she just has so much fun with him. Her vision from her right side is off, so when we're outside and we're walking around, if she doesn't see me move from her right, she'll look around a little confused to try to figure out where did I go. So I'm teaching her with sound just to figure out how to use that sensor and how to figure out where I went to. Jackie had something with her that made me want to help her, and I feel like going out on fostering is going out on a bang, because I have helped 2 special needs dogs, and you know, just the amount with the other dogs that I've gotten involved with have been incredible. If someone has a home and a heart and is looking to help an animal, fostering is one of the most amazing things you can do. Rescues always pay for their bedding, their food, their medical, everything. The only thing as a foster that you need to care for is providing love in a home. And when you see the difference that you can make in a dog, for example, Christy, when she first came in to when she left, that transformation in what you can do to help a dog is incredible. And what it does is it keeps a dog out of a shelter. And dogs have a lot of distress in there, and it makes, when they go right into a home, when they get adopted, their transition is flawless because they've already learned to be in a home environment. And when you take them in, they're so scared. My one thing is if you foster, you can save so many dogs' lives, and they come in and the turnover is incredible if you're with a very good rescue like ours, and we have fosters just turn over dog after dog because we're adopting them out into amazing homes.
I'm Donna Kleck from Animal Rescue Network New England. I'm the director. One of our exemplary, very well-rounded volunteers is Christine Musso. She's done everything from kennel work, cleaning walking dogs to being a foster home for dogs in need, including one beautiful blind greyhound. Our thanks go out to Christine, and she's just a wonderful example for others to follow.
My name is Patrice, and I'm an adoption counselor with Arnie, the Animal Rescue Network of New England. And I've worked with Christine quite a few times. I'm an adoption counselor, and she has fostered for us many, many times. She's one of my favorite fosters. She acts like a mama to all of her babies. And she's adopted actually a couple of the dogs that she's fostered, and she's a fantastic dog owner. She's a very well-rounded volunteer. She does so many aspects of volunteering with us. Everything from marketing the dogs on Facebook, fostering, she does home checks for the dogs that she fosters. She's just a really wonderful, caring, very, very giving of her time to all of the dogs. And we very much appreciate Christine's effort.